Hello, beautiful people. Happy Monday. Back again. Welcome, by the way, or welcome back. I am Andrea B, and I'm back outside. It is hot, but I still want to sit outside. So that's why I'm here. And beverage of today in the mug, of course. I have some ginger and mint tea. It is phenomenal. It is so good. The mint in this, it is just top notch. It is just so minty and I just love it. So, cheers. Boop. So, rant. I really am coming to you all today in a state of being peeved because people really want you to read their mind. I don't know why. How dare they expect you to read their mind? And just the audacity to think you have the ability to read their mind. How dare they? They should be ashamed because who gave you that power? God didn't give you that. So, what human has the ability to read minds? The reason I am thinking about this is because I saw a clip yesterday, and this woman was saying, I only have a cell phone so I can scroll social media, so it really bothers me that people call me out of the blue. Like they don't know I'm watching my favorite show right now, and people really must be, at least that woman, either she's losing her marbles or she was just trolling, trying to have fun and wanting attention, because to get on camera and say something like that, clearly I took it for face value and I was able to do that. Not against that woman, it's what she said. I don't know her, but because I've heard that before, something along the lines like that. And the example I'm thinking about is this person I speak to that says, this is my schedule on these days out of the week. People know what I'm doing. And so to call me during this time like they don't know, they should know I'm tired. They know I have a lot going on. And my response to that was, well, did you tell them? Or better yet, you know you don't have to respond. You know you don't have to answer. Turn your phone on silent, do not disturb, whatever setting you need to make sure your rest is not disturbed. But instead, the blame and the responsibility was all on the other person. Like, they should know. You know better than to call me during this time. You know I'm tired and you disturb me. However, flip it and take that responsibility for yourself and say, oh, I am allowing myself to be this disturbed. Because, again, there is that control where if your phone is on silent, it can ring, you won't be disturbed. And there are, again, exceptions where we are disturbed beyond our control. Like if the fire alarm is going off, well, we need that. So I'm sure you'd want your sleep to be disturbed there, but a person is going to do what they want. So they're going to call you when they want, hoping to talk to you. They know that you could be doing anything at any time and anywhere, but it's up to you to say, now's not the time. I will get back to you later. I don't want to talk right now, etc. Where has the communication gone? It is just so frustrating that this is where communication is for some people. And this isn't just younger folk, it's older folk that also say the same things. And yes, you may have your routine. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, you may be doing this. You may have been doing it faithfully for the past 50 years. However, things change. Days can look different. So, today being Monday, someone may want to call me and say, you know what? Andrea is usually doing this at this time. And then they say, I'll call her tomorrow. And then come to find out, they call me tomorrow and I can say, oh, yeah, you actually could have called me because I didn't do that thing that I usually do. But they wouldn't know. And yes, that can be seen as considerate by saying, I know you typically are busy during this time, so I won't disturb you. However, the responsibility goes both ways. And I just chalk it up to, like I said before, people are going to do what they want. I am done blaming people for everything because if someone wants to call me, they can call me. And I can sit there and say, you know, I'm busy at this time, but I don't have to answer. So why am I so bothered that they're calling me when I have control in the situation? No one's forcing me to answer. No one's forcing me to keep my phone, the sound on. So people can do what they want to do, just as I can. And going back to that clip I saw of the woman, she also added, because you're calling me unexpected, now I have to sit there and watch and wait for your call to end, for the phone to stop ringing so I can get back to doing what I was doing. Because she's so inconvenienced that someone called her. You also, ma'am, don't have to wait for the phone to stop ringing. You know what? You can hit that red or you can swipe it to end the call. You can press that side button to forward to voicemail. There was just a complaint spirit in that video and it drove me nuts because everything was everyone else's fault. Just leave her alone. If you come across that video, just leave her alone. Don't talk to her. She's not going to have friends. She just wants to be alone. Leave her alone. Let her pay her phone bill so that she can just scroll on social media because that's what she has a phone for, right? So I just am really frustrated with the lack of communication that people have because there aren't any words. I think people forget that they can use their words. And I'm slightly shifting too because I noticed the sun is changing directions and the lighting is as good as it can be right now. So I am a little shaded, but I like that better. I'll shift here. So communication, people don't know how to use words anymore. Where are the words? Where is the I am unavailable? Now, it's different if this is a more up to date conversation where if I just told you yesterday what I was doing, what I have planned the next day, or if I just told you this morning what I have planned this evening, then yes, it's fresh. And I can say, wait, I told her I'd be busy at this time. Why is she calling me? But I still don't see the need to be angry and so upset about the fact that someone is calling, because people just forget. Things change. Someone may call you and say today may be the day where she's just not that busy. So let me try to get through to her. So why invest so much energy? Because that's probably not going to stop people from doing what they're doing. They're going to call you if they want to. They will text you if they want to. Don't answer. And back to using words. What happened to just being honest and telling people, I am not in the mood. Now is not a good time, but can I call you later? The negotiation process to figure out what works for you. This is what works for me. Let's find a time. What happened to that? What happened to it? So, my frustration is one with the audacity of, you should know. Read my mind. You know what I'm doing. You know what I want. Um, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it. I don't get it. And like I said, I had a personal conversation with someone, and when I asked them the question of why not just answer, they avoided all responsibility. I don't remember the exact response, but it was something along the lines of, they know not to call me, but I told them this. They know what I'm doing. Blah, 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 blah. Avoiding, avoiding, avoiding. So my attempt to understand this behavior did not, I still don't understand. Because in that moment, I think I was hoping that person would say, you're right, I don't have to answer. And then complaint over. But instead, it was deflection, they're to blame, and nothing's my fault. So I don't fully understand, because I can't relate to that. I just know it bothers me. So, but I'm not opposed to wanting to understand. I definitely want to understand. I love being able to understand people and their experience, where they're coming from, their thought process. But because I don't understand right now, I may sound very judgmental. I can make assumptions and try to come to some sort of conclusion of why people behave this way. But right now, I just don't have the words for why someone would say, you know not to call me at this time. And or it's not so much about saying that, it's more so about the blame. And some people just love to complain. They love to remove responsibility from themselves, because they want people in the world to conform to them, their ideas, and what they think is best, how they think the world should operate. And that's just foolish. People don't want to change. They don't want to do work outside of their normal habits. People find it easier to not use their words, to not communicate, because that's how they're used to behaving anyway. So, like I said, my hope was that that person would have said, "Oh, you're right, I don't have the answer." But maybe they're not used to thinking outside the box that way, or accepting alternatives, and thinking outside of their comfort zone. The birds are having a ball down there. So, and to me, that is just that is just self sabotage, honestly, to get in your own way that much that you just want the world to work on your terms, and there's no way around it. That's why I said about the woman earlier, she's probably not going to have friends. She's going to be alone because she's not willing to do any work. She doesn't want to change. And that's the self sabotage, is she's getting in her own way, because change is required for everything. How much change depends on the situation. What type of change depends on the situation. But we need to constantly be changing. And the part that I can relate to is using my words, because I used to struggle with that, with telling people exactly what I wanted and what I needed, due to a fear of offending someone or hurting their feelings. So it was very uncomfortable, and I would procrastinate with conveying the message. However, it has to be done. I've learned to accept that people deserve communication. That's the least I can do, is communicate where I am, how I feel, when it comes to canceling plans, when it comes to me not being interested. They deserve for me to say, I changed my mind, or a simple no, rather than being passive aggressive and creating distance. Just be very straightforward. And that's not something that I was used to. But I began to practice using my words more, so that people can understand where I'm coming from. There's no guesswork. This is what it is. And like I said, it's a form of respect, especially if you want to maintain relationships. There has to be a level of respect where you are communicating with people, showing them that consideration by not ignoring them, not being rude, and passive aggressive. So I can relate to that. Not that I'm still engaging in that form of communication, but I I used to. I know what it's like. I remember where I came from, and I understand that there are people that struggle and may see it as social anxiety. Like I said, maybe there's just a huge fear of, what if I say the wrong thing? I hurt someone's feelings. And that's another thing I've had to accept, is that if someone's feelings are hurt, that's their feelings. If someone is disappointed that I'm saying no, I can't make it, I'm not in the mood right now, I'm unavailable, and they are hurt, they just will have to be hurt, because I am saying what I need, I'm saying what I want, and if they don't like it, they don't have to. And that's why negotiations can be helpful, because it shows the other person that you're willing to work with them just at a later time. And I cannot and don't advise you to put your needs on hold to please other people. What if you don't want to go? Someone is hurt because you don't want to go. Are you going to say, you know what, I'll go to make you happy? Now, you can do that. But if you plan to be miserable the whole time, you are hurting yourself just to please other people. That doesn't sound fun. So that's what I mean when I say accepting that some people will be hurt. They may not like the rules that you enforce. They may not like not having you on their time. But what can they do? They will have to accept it. So there it is. Sorry, adjusting again. Sunlight is just here. And did I put sunscreen on? The day, what time is it? Yeah, I can't remember. It's been quite a few hours since I've gotten dressed, and I don't know if I put sunscreen on. But if you relate, if this is you, where you're saying, I do this, I suck at communication, I suck at telling people where I stand, I want people to just know so that I don't have to do the work. If this is you, piece of advice I have is for you to do your part. Don't expect people to just know. Even if you've told them, people forget. Another peeve of mine, or at least used to be, was repeating myself. I used to hate repeating myself because I'm thinking, how many times do I have to tell you? You asked me the same question yesterday, the day before, last week. It's not clicking. People just forget. And guess what? There are tools to help you remember. Write it down, take a picture, whatever, type it out, set an alarm to remember things. My husband and I now have a shared calendar so that he knows what I have going on, because there are times where he will ask me, what do I have planned on this day? And then I may tell him yesterday, and then today he'll ask me again, what time? And I just said, I'll give you access to my calendars. That way you will know, you will get alerts when I am working and busy with clients, when I have meetings, whatever the case is. The calendar is doing the job for him so that I won't have to repeat myself and he won't have to ask me. He can just go to the calendar and then boom. But it's my job to put things in the calendar so that he knows. So it still goes both ways. We both are doing our parts. But that's just an example of how there are so many tools around us that we can be using to help us out. But we should be doing our part. And that just circles back to my initial rant about the woman in the video is, girlfriend, do your part. Don't answer the phone. Don't respond. You have control. We all have control. We all have a part to play. And I don't know about you all, but that is the most liberating thing to me, is knowing that I have control. It feels good to know that. And it feels good to do the things that honor me, that please me. Because from a former people pleaser to another, let me tell you, you cannot please everybody. You cannot do everything to make someone happy. You cannot be the only source of someone's happiness. It has to come from somewhere else, because you will be jumping through hoops to make people happy and to please them, and it'll never be enough. And you want to know why? Because they will always want more from you, because they're going to need more. There will always be something. You know, like on the sitcoms when someone's sick and they have the cowbell, and as soon as the helper sits down, the bell is going off, and they're thinking, I am going to tear that bell apart and get rid of it. Because the person depending on them has needs, so that bell is constantly going off. So, hire some help. But seriously, to the point of accepting that sometimes people's feelings will be hurt, that means if I'm not available, find what you need somewhere else. That's it. People will just have to deal with the rules that you enforce. If they don't like it, let them go sit in the corner and cry. But they will have to deal with it and accept it. And there, to me, is no point in being angry, arguing with people, wasting time and energy on what people choose to do, how people choose to feel. Because while they're crying in the corner, you can be taking care of business, getting through the day, and not taking on more work than you need to be taking on. Because when you're stressed, when you're angry, you're constantly thinking, man, I can't believe they're mad. They have the nerve to call me all types of names because I didn't answer their call. Well, how focused will you be on what you have going on if your mental energy is going toward the audacity of someone else? And my point is that when you are telling someone no because you have other plans, close that door. Use that negotiation that I mentioned earlier to revisit that door, reopen it, find a time to connect with people. It goes both ways. That's it, that's all. So, I don't know the woman's name who I saw in the video, but just know it's not her or it's not you I have a problem with. It is the behavior, it is the pattern. And everything boils down to communication, using our words. And this may have to be another video about communication and where people struggle today. And like I said, it's not just people want to blame everything on the Gen Zs. No. The Gen Zs learned it from somewhere, so we can't blame them for everything. Again, take responsibility, because there are some adults older than me that are struggling to use their words. Yes, I am thinking of some people in my head, and next video, I won't name drop, but I have examples. I have examples. So, rant officially over. Thank you all for tuning in, And with love, I hope you receive this video. And if you haven't subscribed already, feel free to do so. Like and share. Turn on notifications so that you will get those updates when I post again. And I'm going to continue enjoying the sounds of nature. Actually, I may go inside because it is hot and I would like to enjoy some artificial air for a little bit until I cool down, enjoy some water. But that's all. Until next time.